Should you buy a tablet 6 for digital art? As somebody who wanted to learn digital art, there was one thing that I was missing, and that was a drawing tablet. Looking at the information that the internet brought forth, the best option seemed like the iPad. But there was one problem: I couldn't afford it. So I did some research and thought maybe I could get a graphics tablet like a Wacom. And then I thought, and I was like, yeah, I needed something that I could actually use for multiple things like reading, editing videos, and watching YouTube videos. So I did some more research and then ended up landing on the Tablet 6. Now, I've been using it for about 10 months, and you might have some questions like, was the purchase worth it? What are the pros and cons of using it for digital art? And is the S Pen even comfortable to use for drawing? Well, don't worry, I'm going to answer all your questions. But first, let's look at the hardware. So my tablet is a Tablet 6 model SMT860 in the color Mountain Gray and was released in 2019. The size is 10 inches, 420 grams, the resolution of 1600 by 2560 pixels. The battery life is pretty good. It lasts me about 3 hours when I'm drawing, and I'm usually playing music or watching a YouTube video in the background, so that's a pretty good battery life. The other part of the Tablet 6 is the S Pen, which sticks to the back of the tablet. One of the biggest concerns with the S Pen is its size. For me personally, the size is okay. My hands aren't that big. They are big, but they're not that big, although it does need some getting used to, but over time you get used to the size and it's not really a big issue. There is one thing that would annoy the hell out of me, and that's there is a button here on the side of the S Pen which I would usually press when I am drawing, and it would activate some stuff. But other than that, there isn't much concern. Oh, and I also noticed one more thing. The S Pen stopped charging when I put it on the back of the tablet. So I don't know if it's a battery inside that died. Well, I think so. The main reason of having a battery inside of the S Pen was for gestures. So you would like maybe press this button and then do this, and maybe you would change a song, or you would slide, I don't know, whatever. And I never really used this function, so even after it stopped charging, it wasn't really an issue. And then after that, even if I clicked this thing, it stopped working. So personally, it's not a big issue for me. I think maybe I could replace the pen or maybe a battery, I don't know, but I'm perfectly fine with it not working. Doesn't really matter, it's not a huge deal. And let's look at the art process. As you can see, the tip of my S Pen is made of rubber, and the tablet has a glass screen protector. Because the pen tip has rubber, it helps provide friction when drawing, so the S Pen doesn't slide on the screen, and you have a lot of control over the strokes that you do. During the time when I was like learning to draw, I had purchased a stylus because, if I'm being honest with myself, I just loved the aesthetic of drawing on an iPad. And so I thought, hey, you know what, let me get a stylus that looks like an Apple Pencil, and then, you know, create the Lulu for myself. And this is by far the worst purchase that I have ever made in my life, I think. This thing doesn't really do much. It doesn't feel good drawing on the iPad, and it actually doesn't like provide, like when I'm painting with it, when I'm drawing with it, it
calm down, calm down.
You know how some brushes have like pressure sensitivity? Yeah, this doesn't do that. So it just shows up as one blob. It doesn't show like the pressure sensitivity of a brush, so it's practically useless, and I don't use it. So that's a very useless purchase, and I am annoyed with myself. But other than that, I would say the S Pen works perfectly fine on the tablet for drawing because of how it's designed, and you just have to get used to using it and accept that the Samsung pen is not the same as the iPad pencil. You should accept that. Accept it. Accept it. thing that makes the iPad the holy grail when it comes to digital art is Procreate. And everyone that I've ever seen do digital art on an iPad uses Procreate mainly. That leaves the question, what is the best software for drawing on tablet? Well, I tried a couple of drawing softwares like HiPaint, Sketch, and Krita, and I landed on Krita because one, the UI looked familiar to me because I used Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop before, so that one felt more natural. And then the second thing was the brushes. I love how they have a lot of brushes, but then also they're not too much and they're organized. And I remember when I opened IBMX, it overwhelmed me. I was like, oh mother, there are a lot of brushes. I was like, which one do I pick? Which one do I use? Which one is a round edge? Which one is the airbrush? Which one is... They were just like confusing me. I was like, I don't know which one to pick. I ended up going with Krita because the UI, the arrangement, and it felt straightforward to me. Now, if you exist in the real world, you know that there are pros and cons to everything. And I noticed one of the biggest cons when using Krita was the lag. At first, I thought it was my iPad, which was not working. My iPad, again, stop with the iPad. At first, I thought it was my tablet that was just, lagging. Well, it could be. But then I noticed when I was watching a tutorial on how to use Krita from, I will insert the name of the channel here. And she talked about the lag with brushes, and I was like, oh, okay. So it's just not me. It does happen. So it could be that my settings were a little bit high. Maybe the canvas was large because I was using a 6,000 by 6,000. Relax. So I reduced it to like 2000, and then I also saw that she changed the settings on her brushes, which I haven't yet done, but I will do. And other than that, I would say it's working just fine. I'm able to do what I gotta do. And I noticed that the brushes that lag the most are I need to read the name, Wet Paint Plus and the Wet Paint brushes. Now the advantage is that I rarely use these brushes. I only use them for hair, mostly when I'm like trying to create that sort of like blur, like swoop motion. Yeah, that's when I use them. So I don't use them that much and they don't really affect my drawing time. Other than that, there isn't much of an issue here. I've seen other people use IBMX, yeah, that one, and Studio Paint, no, Studio something. I'll put the icons here, I think, somewhere on the screen. Yeah, people use those. You can try those out, but you have to pay for some of them. But the IBX whatever is free if you watch ads. So yeah, but Krita is free, and yeah, I actually enjoy using it, and it doesn't overwhelm me because it doesn't have too many brushes. We go back to the question, should you get the Tab S6 for digital art? If I was given an option to pick between the iPad and the Tab S6, I would pick the iPad.
Well, hold on on that. Hold on. Now, hold on. I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, calm down. But because I'm on a budget and I'm broke, I'm gonna pick the Tab because if I'm being honest, it's a good place to start. It gets the job done. It's less expensive and there isn't much wrong with it. It's a pretty good tablet. It's pretty solid. The battery life is pretty good. There isn't much to complain about, and if I'm being honest, I don't regret buying it. Yeah, and I actually use it the most, and I'm actually thinking of getting a keyboard for it so that I can use it as a tablet and like a mini computer because my computer is a desktop. So should you get a tablet? I think you should. If you're broke and you're on a budget and you want to learn digital art, do it. It's okay. You might think maybe the Tab S7, I think it's also expensive, so I think this one is a good place to start if you want to do that. So yeah, I would say You can get yourself a tablet set for digital art. And if you want to know how I use my tablet on the daily, you can click on this video here where I show you how I use my tablet 6. And I will see you later. Bye.